Today we're showing you concrete evidence of the effect of an Orgone generator, Orgone, on water. Here we have tap water, a parts per million meter. This measures total dissolved solids. We're going to let it get settled in. Total dissolved solids are fixed, so once it's locked in, it should not change. Though when we introduce the Orgone generator, we'll see change in the readout. That's because Orgone structures water, and as a result, the ppm reading changes. There's no other way to do this that I know of. And this is not the main attraction of an Orgone generator. This is not something that we heavily promote, but it's a side effect of the Orgone structuring the water. So people ask us sometimes for experiments. There's a lot of science, a lot of people studying Orgone. We can link to a lot of publications out there, especially the works of Reich, for people who have an analytical mind, who are interested in learning more about Orgone. Now, by the time most people get to us and are interested in a generator, they already realize pretty concretely that Orgone works. And then definitely after having one, that's why so few people return them, almost never, and it's not a subtle thing. That said, there's a lot of experiments you can do at home. This is one of them. So once the readout is stable, then there should be no more changes. Then once it's locked in after a few minutes, we're going to introduce Orgone. The other reason why we don't normally, we do a lot of experiments that we don't want to publish for our own product development, juicy stuff. So we'll release it sooner or later, and there's a lot you can do yourself. Now with the knockoff Orgonite experiments, you can assume and know safely that any experiment that shows with knockoff Orgonite, because it only accumulates a very, very weak field of Orgone, the same experiment can be done, the same effect can be had with a greater measure using super Orgonite or the Orgone generator. Of course, people say they call knockoff Orgonite an Orgone generator, and that's just false. Orgonite only accumulates Orgone. It doesn't generate it. There's only one Orgone generator on the market, and it's invented by Carl Wells. There was a ripoff for a while that worked with us and tried to steal some of the ideas, but he didn't do a very good job, and I don't think he's around anymore. So anyway, all those experiments, ion meters, ice tests, EMF, even an Orgone meter. By the way, most of the EMF experiments are totally wrong. They're totally done wrong. That debunking video that shows the EMF being blocked by a 2x4 or by a hand, that's true, by the way. Something we're very outspoken about. Orgonite, Reich measured that the Orgone accumulator around EMF accumulated DOR, or deadly Orgone. So anyone promoting Orgonite as blocking EMF is actually incorrect. Now the Orgone generator, our theory is that it produces Orgone, which counteracts the negative effects of EMF. All right, if you have an Orgone generator at home and you're doing this experiment, you've got to let the Orgone dissipate first. I'm not going to edit anything after the Orgone is introduced, so we'll wait. What's going to happen? It's nothing majorly drastic. The ppm will drop 3 to 5 points total. Maybe a little minor fluctuation, but drops 3 to 5 points shortly after introducing the Orgone. Sometimes it takes a few minutes, but you'll see it go. We've waited a couple minutes. This is the locked in readout, 325. It's very stable now, and we're going to introduce the Orgone generator. Again, this is a replicatable experiment. You can try this at home. We've already got a point down. Now, Victor Schoberger did a lot of study about structured water, and he used flow forms and other means of structuring water to also purify water. So Dr. Masuri Moto is another one to check out, who proved that certain etheric energies can affect water, like intention or a smiley face taped to a glass of water, stuff like that. So it'll be a couple minutes, but again, you can do this time and time again, and this is something that I haven't seen anything else do, that drops the ppm of water after it's stabilized without directly touching the water, purifying it, anything like that, any physical effects. And if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm not the best editor, so I wouldn't know how to edit this down if I tried. So it's already down 3 points. Pretty concrete there. We had it locked in, stabilized for a few minutes at 325. There's always fluctuation at the beginning, but once it's settled, it's settled. And as you know, the material content of the water cannot change. Pop back up there. That happens somewhat regularly. And then it'll come back down to 322, maybe lower. So you can also test this at a distance using a structural link, 2 orgonite pieces, or even an identical structural link. You can test this with a friend. You can take this to a friend's house where there's no orgone already saturated. Everything in your house, depending on the size of your generator, before long, the cups, all the water in the pipes, everything in your fridge will saturate with orgone. And again, this is pretty basic stuff, but if you're doing the test yourself, of course you want to make sure all your variables are controlled. So that's why I have it setting there where you can see, you don't want to be holding the meter. You want to have fresh batteries. You want to make sure you've got a stable readout for a stable amount of time. And then when you introduce it, watch closely. The other thing, of course, the same applies to the double blind tests with 2 glasses of water. If you're testing that in your house, it won't work if you've got the Orgone generator on already, because both of the glasses of water will already be saturated with orgone, so there will be not a dramatic difference between the two. Back down to 323. So again, test this yourself with a control with no orgone, and watch, it will not do this. Normal ppm meter, as I said, once it gets its initial jitters out, it'll lock in and it'll stay there. And we can tell normally it's pretty quickly after the orgone is introduced, you'll see the change. Again, if you're doing this at home, this is basic stuff, but you don't want people hovering right on it. You kind of get the bowl, the water, whatever you're testing out on its own, and observe it there so you can eliminate all the different variables I guess it turned off naturally there. So there you have it, concrete evidence, orgonegenerator.com. Test yourself, and we'll talk to you later.